Well, what a treat we've got in this video. So I've been speaking to a guy called Tom Maley. He's a sculptor and he's sculpted the Shearer statue and the Sir Bobby Robson statue, and he's been telling me some amazing things that I didn't even know about the story of these statues and the one about Jackie Milburn that used to be in this location. So stay around, watch the video. I've got a cracking interview coming up with Tom. You're going to learn a ton of stuff, and I hope you enjoy the video. It's coming up. Tom Maley, thanks for joining me on Tyneside Life. You've got some fascinating and interesting stuff to say about the statues here at St James's Park. But before we go into that specifically, can you help the viewer? I know you've helped me talk about exactly what it means to be a sculptor of statues like this and how you do it and where your workshop is.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, thanks for having me on, Eddie. I'm a sculptor. I used to be a mechanical engineer, and I taught myself how to sculpt. And I've been sculpting professionally since about 2000, to do statues like this in my home city of Newcastle and being a Newcastle United fan is just it's a real honour and a privilege. You know, I couldn't really make it up.
So what are the statues made of, and how do you do it?
Right, these are 9'6". The Bobby statue and the Alan Shearer statue are both 9'6" tall. They're cast in bronze. I model them in my workshop near Morpeth in clay. We take moulds, we then take the moulds to the bronze casting foundry, and to cut a very, very long story short, they come back in bronze and you install them on a plinth. That's putting it very quickly, but these things typically take about 12 months to do.
And just to avoid any confusion, you're the sculptor of the Shearer and the Bobby Robson statue.
I am, yeah.
And what I didn't know, you just told me before, is that the plinth that Sir Bobby Robson's on, before that, you had a fiberglass statue of Jackie Milburn on that plinth. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, yeah. Jackie represents the first large piece I ever did. It was a self-commissioned piece. I built it 8 foot high in fiberglass, and I was invited by the then chairman, Sir John Hall, to put it on the plinth that Bobby actually stands on now. And he was there from 96 till 99. We were going to have it cast in bronze. One reason or another, it never happened. The chairmanship changed hands. Then when Freddie was chairman, Freddie Shepherd, he commissioned the Shearer statue along with the Jackie Milburn statue back in 2007. That was all going ahead, but then the club changed hands and Freddie was no longer chairman, so he lost control of the project a little bit. Then the new owners were going ahead with the project, and then it went on hold for a myriad of reasons, and then it kind of really got cancelled. So it was years later that Freddie and the Shepherd family stepped up and they completed the Shearer statue, which is what you see now. But they weren't in a position to complete the Jackie Milburn statue, so it still to this day remains incomplete. I'd love to think one of these fine days it gets done in bronze before I'm dead and gone, you know. So in 2012 I did do the big statue of Bobby that you see now, having done a smaller bust that's in the players' entrance a couple of years earlier.
So you sculpted the bust in the players' entrance of Sir Bobby?
Yes, that's mine. Yeah. So I've been very lucky with the club. The club have been very good in giving a local lad a chance to do these pieces, and you know, as I say, I'm repeating myself, it's a great honour and a privilege to be associated with the club and the city, and what these guys mean to the fans.
So just going back a bit chronologically, in 2012 your sculpted bronze statue of Sir Bobby Robson went on there.
Yeah.
How much did it cost?
It was, back then it was just shy of 100,000 from memory, you know, for the whole project. Yeah. So it's a lot. They're a lot of money. They take a long time to produce. Yeah, I mean, it costs what it costs. Yeah.
And going back further again, you had this fiberglass statue of Jackie Milburn that used to be on there. That went back to your workshop. What's happened to that?
Well, it's just fiberglass, so it's in pieces now. I've since remodeled it, and I've digitally mastered the thing, if you like, made a 3D digital model from which I've produced smaller versions, one of which is here today. I have a half-life size version as well, just a one-off bronze. But I would also like to think I could do the the 9'6" version from that original clay model now. So it'd be nice to finish that off one of these days. Yeah.
It sort of begs the obvious question. There's a Jackie Milburn statue opposite the Strawberry. What's the story behind that?
Well, mine's the third of three. That statue was on Northumberland Street from 1991, and it was paid for by the readers of the Evening Chronicle back in the day. It then moved to the Boulevard for a while. Then it was in storage for a long time, and then it reappeared opposite the Strawberry. It's a much smaller figure. It's a nice figure. I like it. But it's of a completely different style of the two that are here, of Bobby and Alan. So I think it's only 7 foot tall as well. It's not a big statue, so it wouldn't really fit in on this corner. So I still think there's an opportunity. I'm bound to say that. I still think there's an opportunity to finish off the 9'6" bronze of Jackie. And I think of all the people who've played for this club, arguably Jackie, should be one of the first to be here. So
coming on to the Shearer statue here, I think there's a little bit of controversy behind it. So it was commissioned in 2016 by Freddie Shepherd's family.
2015. Okay. Yeah, in 2015, Freddie and the Shepherd family realised that the statue just wasn't really coming back on the agenda, so they stepped up and very generously agreed to fund the remainder of the construction of the statue. They were understandably not prepared to fund the completion of the Jackie Milburn statue, but I was happy with the result at the end. Unfortunately, we couldn't put it on the ground on the stadium land. Make your own, you can make your own opinions as to why that might be. So it was on the Barrack Road site because that was the closest site we could get to the ground that wasn't stadium land, that it was controlled by the City Council. So the City Council stepped up and helped out a lot. Yeah.
And can you tell us a story with the one finger salute? I understand Alan Shearer had some say in what may or may not have been the final result.
That's right. We discussed it at the time, and he was more famous for his open hand or his handed salute, but he was pictured occasionally with the one fingered salute. And the thing about statues is it's not like a photograph. You need to use every possible hook that you've got to get people to get a little bit of tension into the piece. And a clenched fist with a finger pointing upwards has more tension and more dynamics about it than just a flat hand, right? Alan pointed out that it was, I think, one of the salutes he'd used when he'd scored a goal against Sunderland in one of the Tyne Tees derbies. So he was more than happy to do that. So yeah, he took my advice, but he didn't take much pushing. Yeah.
I'm guessing you must feel chuffed a bit that the new owners have decided to move it from Barrack Road onto stadium land.
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't believe the news when I heard it was moving. So it was. I'm just an accidental recipient of this. They didn't do it for me. I realise that. But as an accidental little bit of serendipity, I was over the moon, and I was involved in the project because it's a difficult move. They're not really designed to move. So we had to be careful how we moved it, and so I worked with the club and with the construction company. And we got it where it is now, and it's nice and safe and secure now. Yeah, and I'm delighted with it. Yeah.
And I understand you'd love to have your Jackie Milburn statue placed here as a trio of statues just beyond Bobby Robson. Is that something that's in the pipeline? Would you like the fans somehow to gather momentum and get behind this?
That would be great. I'd love to get some feedback as to whether the fans still have the appetite to have Jackie on a plinth at the scale of these two, and he would complete the Holy Trinity, if you like, if you want to call it that, the local heroes. And I think if we had him on the other side of Bobby, on a plinth to that side, it would certainly be, it would be job done for me. I could, ride off into the sunset and forget about the whole thing then. But until Jackie's finished, I'll still be clamouring to get him done one way or another. And if there were any private individuals or any corporate sponsors who were interested in talking to me about that, or even just getting behind it vocally, would be something. Yeah.
And lastly, I can't help notice you got these lovely bronze statues of Milburn, Sir Bobby Robson and Alan Shearer. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, well, when we moved the Alan Shearer statue, I thought it'd be a good time to celebrate that with getting some bronzes done that I've been meaning to get for a long time. I did a couple of bronzes of Bobby years ago, and I promised myself I would get some made. And so I thought I would get the trio done. It keeps Jackie alive. and it keeps him associated with these two guys. And I think, you know, with the feel-good factor that's going on around the club now, for obvious reasons, with the new ownership and the way the team are playing, it's a good time for me to, I've got to make a living. I've got to try and sell some bronzes here. So I'm doing a very small edition of 12 pieces of each one of these.
So if anybody wants one, what do they need to do?
Well, they can contact me either via you on your website, or they can go to tommaley.com, or they can go on Instagram, or they can get me on Tom Maley at btinternet.com. Just my name, Tom Maley, Maley.
And there's only going to be 12 ever made of each one. How much would they cost each?
They're £4,000 each, which I realise is an awful lot of money to most people, but they're very rare. There's only going to be 12 of them made. Once the pieces are sold out, that'll be it. I'll no longer be in control of the price. I would expect the prices to go up probably significantly. So in terms of collectability, I would say they're very collectible, and they'd be a very good investment. I'm bound to say that, but I do have past experience of this, and this is what happens. Yeah.
A great collector's item for any dedicated fan, for a piece of work of art that's going to gather value as the years go on. Yeah, Tom, thanks very much. So if you want to get in touch with Tom via his website, or via me if you're interested in any of these bronze sculptures, but also as well if you're interested in having the third Jackie Milburn sculpture commissioned by Tom Maley, to have it put just beyond Bobby Robson there by the black wall, leave me a comment, share the video. Tom, it's been great talking to you. I've learned loads just listening to you about the story of these statues. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Eddie.
Thank you.